Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Israel. Man, I hope everybody is having a peaceful Shabbat. First and foremost, if you did not check out, Shep's teaching today, make sure you go back and watch that one. I'm just simply going to follow behind with getting us in the mindset that we need to be in the midst of the battle. Okay. When you look at that thumbnail, when you think about what daytime and hour that we are in, there is no room physically or spiritually for those that want to straddle the fence, those that want to operate in a gray area, meaning you are undecided on which way you're going. Okay. There was a video Shep did yesterday talking about loyalty to the team, and there's a way that you have to conduct yourself in righteousness. And today I'm gonna get down to the marrow of this thing. When you think about the war that has happened since the beginning of time, the thumbnail is only one instance, but I want you to think about, on one side, you have masculinity, righteously. On the other side, you have effeminate men who do very vile things with one another. One side, you have the righteously masculine who are going to continue to build Israel, laborsome. They have grit. Other side, you got abominable acts. You got soft and supple men. Every time I'm out and about, whether I'm in Walmart, whether I'm in Lowe's, and I see this stuff, man, my spirit is vexed because I say, man, Hasatan got another one. And sometimes these men will be, 6'4", 6'2", that if they were on the other side, you like, man, I know these men is strong, but you have to look at what they've been spiritually taken over with. And this is just one example, because if we don't call it what it is, which is an all-out war, Hasatan will move in and slowly. You got to think about all of this stuff that we're seeing today wasn't what once was, as far as it's now, it's spreaded like a plague. If you give somebody like that a cup of water and you continue to let people drink after that, you will be surprised of how quickly it would spread. And then guess what? We're not going to have any men that are worth a dang that's willing to fight because they've given in to the attacks of Hasatan. Humanity would be done. There would be no being fruitful and multiply. We'd be on the last generation. Right now, the remnant is under attack. The righteous are under attack. The set apart are under attack. The obedient are under attack. And Hasatan, when you think about this, you can go to bed one night and it looked like, okay, we've got a moment of calm in the war. And you can wake up and Hasatan's army has been multiplied. I want you to think about a 10-year time span. If you're not that old, a 10-year time span. Some of this stuff that we see today was not as prevalent, but it started out with a few, and it spread slowly as it was a disease of the mind and slowly weakened up and softened up the mind of men. It's a doggone shame for sisters out here to already be at a shortage of good, strong, righteous, set apart men for Hasatan to move in and pretty much take a man who could be a pillar of righteousness and strength and of masculinity, how the Most High Yah created him. But that man will slowly raise his hand, go from alligator arms to raising them all the way up and saying, you know what? I don't want to be a man anymore. I want to paint my fingernails. I want to wear makeup. I want to wear fake eyelashes. I want to wear high heels, even though I wear a size 13. I want to try to deceive people. I'm even going to identify as this. I want to put a doggone wig on my head. I want to live a soft and comfortable life as a woman. This is the mindset behind, I had a guy tell me the other day, I said, man, what are you going to do when your time's up? Because your time's almost up. Man, that joker looked at me and said, man, I'm just going to get out and try to find my husband. I want to be a stay-at-home husband. I said, what? I said, yeah, that was the end of that conversation. You got to understand, right now during this time frame is just one of many battles of this war. Okay? John chapter 10, verse 10, the thief cometh not but for to steal and to kill and to destroy. I am come that they might have life and that they might have it more abundantly. These are two opposing sides. Biblically, we're going to see two opposing sides. And today I'm going to talk about the common middle ground that people get stuck in. What's in between that middle ground? What is the mindset when you are stuck in between this middle side, choosing between what's righteous, choosing between what's wicked? And oftentimes it is your flesh that's under attack, your vessel that's under attack by Hasatan that will soften up. And Hasatan knows if he can pretty much get you to understand words in their inappropriate meaning, or by definition, what they actually mean, he'll slowly soften up your mind. It's the same way the scribes will translate an error to try to soften up the minds of people. Okay. 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 1 through 4. Therefore, seeing we have this ministry, as we have received mercy, we faint not, but we have renounced, okay, the hidden things of dishonesty, not walking in craftiness, nor handling the word of Yah deceitfully, but by manifestation of the truth, commending ourselves to every man's conscience in the sight of Yah. But if our gospel be hid, if our besor be hid, it is hid to them that are lost. So when you think about this, see, you have people that pick up the playbook of righteousness, but they don't understand how the plays are formed, how the plays are written, who is for what. They're written in parables. Okay? Verse 4, in whom the Yah of this world have blinded the minds of them which believe not, lest the light of the glorious Besora of Hamashiach, who is the image of Yah, should shine unto them. Man, you have some people that they don't want to see the light. They don't want to be helped. They don't want salvation. Their pleasure in unrighteousness is too strong. And you have to think about it in order to be convicted about what side of the war you're on in the midst of the battle. When you declare your faith and say, hey, I believe in Hamashiach, I believe he is the example, I believe in the righteous of the book who made it, man, you are taking an oath. You are in agreement with the way in which they lived their life, in which it was counted in righteousness. Oftentimes we don't think about this. We let this stuff roll off our lips as we got faith, as we believe, and we can remember these verses and these passages. But when it comes time to which way are you going? Are you going with with what the word says, what is righteous? Or are you going with what is unrighteous? I'm gonna be honest, man. One of the battles you might face is your son or daughter might come home with something looking like what was in that thumbnail. And at that moment, your faith is going to be tested. Are you going to operate in a gray area and start making excuses for what the Most High Yah told you is an abominable lifestyle? Or would you see what everybody else done as that being wrong? But when it comes down to your own seed, your own children, will you make an exception? That's operating in that capacity of gray instead of warring in the spirit. James chapter 1, verse 8. A double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. We cannot have nobody unstable, that's double-minded on the front lines of the battle. Anybody dealing with a double-minded mindset has to be closely monitored, not without supervision. Because if you're battling between, okay, I need to defend the righteous, I need to defend the kingdom, I need to defend salvation. If you're going back and forth between, well, I want to defend the righteous and I want to help Hasatan, I want to defend the righteous and I want to help Hasatan, man, is that somebody that's somebody that's on the brink of giving up the whole playbook, of giving the whole layout. I've talked about insider threat. That's somebody that, man, you had to keep a close eye on. They're unstable. One day you're like, man, you did good. Next day, you didn't went the other way. Like, how did you come to this? You have to think about this in the midst of the battle. And when you are unstable, when it's time to war, you got to understand, you might have somebody that's been filled with the Spirit, truly wants to do right. But if they have any part of them that's double-minded, guess what they're not going to do when it's time to cast out? They're going to say, I got the power, but they're not going to want to lay hands. They're not going to want to exercise it. And then part of them will want to partake in all kind of unrighteousness and unwickedness. This is double-minded. You can't have that. See, when we look at battles, when we look at wars, we have to look at words that give understanding to, what this is a part of. What is the bigger picture? Okay. Enemy biblically is H341, an adversary, a foe, be hostile to, one that hates you. Think about that. You have to know in the midst of the battle who the enemy is, how the enemy moves, what are the tactics. People in life, they try to say, well, I'm a fair person, therefore the enemy is going to fight fair. No, the enemy will attack you at any place. There's just if a gust of wind can seep in right there, the enemy will use that to attack. An adversary, a foe, be hostile to, one that hates you. Okay. In this battle, you might have allies, but allies need to be watched. Ally, to unite oneself with another to promote a common interest. Here's another one why allies need to be watched. You don't know that everybody's intent or interest is genuine and pure and focused on righteousness. You got people that come into this thing wanting fame, wanting fortune. Just look at world religion. And they will bring people in that are allies. And when their interest has been met, their common interest has been met, and they part ways and they don't have no reason to stay united, an ally becomes an enemy. You have to understand this. Okay. A friend, when we look at friend biblically, the word is 87453, an associate, a brother, a companion, a neighbor. See, people confuse Bible verses talking about how to treat a brother, and they mess around and treat the enemy like a brother, like an associate, like an companion, a neighbor. A friend is not going to cut your throat. The enemy will. And if you walk up treating a enemy like a friend, don't be surprised if Hasatan exploits that. Don't be surprised if you treat an ally like a friend. Hasatan will exploit that. This is what I'm talking about. Ecclesiasticus chapter 6, verse 7. If thou wouldest getteth a friend, prove him first, and be not hasty to credit him. Think about that. You got people that just because on social media the button says friend, they will truly in their mind say, this is my friend. You don't even know how these people live their life. Only thing you've seen is just a snapshot, maybe a picture. And you don't know who they serve, who they worship. And Hasatan will use that. You give people the title of friend without even proving him first. Here's another one. You got family. They said blood is thicker than water. That's one thing. Hasatan is going to use that, but your own family is not deserving of the title of a friend. Okay? Now, when we think about that gray area of what causes people, and this is where you're going to have a lot of casualties. On one side, you got righteousness. Other side, you got unrighteousness. You got the wicked. You got the holy. You got those who want to be saved, those who want to be delivered, those who want to be healed, and those that oppose that. And then you have the people that's just, they would like to call themselves innocent bystanders. But what they are is operating in a gray area on the fence. And they go with who is the most entertaining at the moment, whatever is trending. They're truly not standing on the word. And what they are is hesitant. Okay? Hesitant, tentative, unsure, or slow in acting or speaking. So instead of you hesitate and say, instead of saying, man, I need to be over here or I need to be over there. Hesitant towards, this is what I should be doing. This is what I should not be doing. And in the moment, you don't want anybody, on the side of righteousness that is hesitant, because that hesitation could cause a lot of people their life. You got to think, man, if somebody, an intruder, I'm just giving you some examples. If an intruder was walking towards your door and you knew that they were the enemy, and you had a split second to lock the door in order to protect and ensure the safety of everybody within your dwelling, it's hesitation that Hasatan will exploit. And when it says the seek, kill, and destroy, you hesitated for a moment by something that's not rooted in truth, thinking that the wolf is coming up in there to rub everybody's belly and to tell jokes and to tickle you. No, the wolf is coming to be a wolf. The enemy has come to do what the enemy has come to do, and you cannot be hesitant. Another word that justifies the mindset of somebody in that capacity is uncertain, not able to be relied on, not completely confident or sure of something. Think about this, man. You got people in the middle of the war, in the middle of the battle, in the midst of the battle, they are uncertain. That uncertainty comes in and saying, you know what? Man, I know the enemy wants to kill me, but I just want to help the enemy. You cannot have that. Not completely confident or sure of something, unsure, not feeling, showing, or done with confidence or certainty. This is all stuff that gets people taken out. You have biblically, we are told that sin is the transgression of the law. And then you have these people that ultimately have a form of godliness. But when we look at where the law is in the book, because they have been taught something that has softened up their mind, they have become hesitant, uncertain, unsure. They're not confident of what sin is. They're taking the words of man instead of the words of the Most High as far as what is outlined as sin. And in that uncertainty, in that hesitation, in that unsureness, you come up with your own man-made law and statutes and precepts, and uh it doesn't no in no shape, form, or fashion equate to righteousness. Doubtful. This is why I talked about be careful who you wrestle with when you are first beginning your walk, beginning the journey, seeking the Most High. You be careful who you wrestle with. He's telling you to come out, but you still back here going back and forth with people that are on the on the other side of the battlefield. And their damnable doctrine will make you doubtful. See, if you're not strong in this walk, if you are not sure and confident and truly not filled with the Ruach, it doesn't take much from somebody that has studied in craftiness to make you doubtful. You get some of these people from Egyptology talking to you, and they'll pull you into that, and you'll be warring against the saints and sisters of righteousness. Okay, reluctant, unwilling, and hesitant. Man, you want somebody on your team like that? Unwilling and hesitant. Reluctancy is gonna ultimately be shown in rebellion. Hey, how come you didn't do this? Well, it's reluctant. They weren't willing to do it. They hesitated. Hesitation is showing a divided loyalty. Indecisive. This is dangerous. Not settling an issue. Sometimes you can't stomach it. Not having or showing the ability to make decisions quickly and effectively. Everything that I just named plays into indecisiveness, hesitant, uncertain, unsure, doubtful, reluctant. And you have to think, you have a lot of people that think they have faith, but all of those words of what I just said is a heavy part of their life. And in the midst of the battle, they will get a lot of people killed, a lot of people wounded, a lot of people injured. Luke chapter 14, verse 26. If any man comes to me and hates not his father and mother and wife and children and brethren and sisters, ye also his own life, he cannot be my disciple. You have to be certain about this. You got to think. You got some people that know that their own family wishes evil upon them, but you're hesitant. Use that connection of carnal blood to you is stronger than your spiritual family, the connection you have. You're kind of uncertain. You're making excuses and justification. Well, they don't burn sage and play with tarot cards and do witchcraft or anything wicked. They just do it as a hobby. Man, see, this is the stuff you do not want in the midst of the battlefield. Because you are going to choose those who choose not to follow the Most High Yah and those given to us as an example in righteousness. and you're going to choose the wicked. You're going to choose the wicked. The problem is you might be trying to save people who don't want to be saved, healed, or delivered. That's why I broke down, man. You have to know what is an enemy, what is an ally, and what is a friend. And here's the thing. Oftentimes, before you're walking in truth, you don't even realize that the people you associated with that called themselves your friend, both of y'all was enemies of one another, because Hasatan is not saving a whole bunch of people. No, this is why you see the wicked turn on each other so quickly. Because once he's done using you to wreak havoc, you and your friends, in wickedness, and if he doesn't have anything else, you know, purposeful for you to do in wickedness, then there will be a conflict between one another. The problem is you might be trying to save people who don't want to be saved, healed, or delivered. And I'm going to give you an example that Messiah wasn't doing this. There was plenty of people that was offended by the truth of the Most High Yah. And guess what? He would leave out of that place. Not many people were healed due to their unbelief. Okay. Matthew chapter 15, verse 21 through 28. Then Yahshua went thence and departed into the coast of Tyre and Sidon. And behold, a woman of Canaan came out of the same coast and cried unto him, saying, have mercy on me, O Lord, thou son of David. My daughter is grievously vexed with a devil. He wasn't going out just looking for this. This woman came unto him. She believed that her daughter could be healed. The problem is we operate solely different. We try to buy the wicked time by trying to bring deliverance and healing to folks that have told you bluntly to your face they don't want it. And in the process, what happens is, imagine in the midst of the battlefield, bullets is flying, and here you are walking over to the other side. Man, I think one of them needs my help, while they got the gun pointed right at you. Will blow your head off. And you wonder why you catching shrapnel and all kind of stuff. And you come back and want a medal. I did this in valor. No, you did it in unrighteousness. Let's keep going. But he answered her not a word. He wasn't focused on her. And his disciples came and besought him, saying, send her away, for she crieth after us. But he answered and said, I am not sent but unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel. His goal was to defend the lost sheep of house, to reach the lost sheep of the house of Israel. It says, then she came and worshiped him, saying, Lord, help me. Think about this. You're walking across the battlefield trying to save somebody that didn't willfully surrender. See, a lot of people don't look at it. When you are doing a public declaration of Action 2 and 38, man, that is a public surrendering. Prior to that, and walking in truth, you was on the other side, fighting for the enemy. So you got to think, in righteousness, some people wave the white flag. The remnant has raised the white flag and said, you know what? I'm not fighting for that side no more. I'm not fighting for that side no more. They realize a war is going on. And from that point, they say, you know what? Man, I'm going to be loyal to this side. I'm going to be loyal for righteousness' sake. He says, be holy as I am holy. Gives them an example to follow. But here's the other thing. When you have people that are indecisive, hesitant, what happens is you try to make a public declaration, waving the white flag like you surrendered, but you still operating on the playbook of the enemy amongst the righteous. Come on, man. And you start thinking about this. We talked a couple of weeks ago about Judas. That was an insider threat. And it says from the moment Hasatan entered into him. Okay. Then she came and worshiped him, saying, Lord, help me. But he answered and said, it is not meet to take the children's bread and to cast it to dogs. And she said, true. She acknowledged it. So she is not against what he's saying, even if she's a Canaanite woman. Yet the dogs eat of the crumbs which fall from their master's table. Then Yahshua answered and said unto her, O woman, great is your faith. Imagine, somebody from the enemy. You see them on the battlefield, bullets flying. They throw their weapon down. They take off all their gear and they running across the field towards you with a white flag. I'm good on this. I don't want to fight for this team no more. The problem is we don't see that, and we running over there trying to save the masses and putting the lives of the righteous in jeopardy while doing so. Okay? Then Yahshua answered her, O woman, great is thy faith, but it unto thee even as thou wilt. And her daughter was made whole from that very hour. Look at that. Romans chapter 1, verse 30 through 32. Okay? Backbiters, haters of Yah, despiteful, proud, boasters, inventors of evil things, disobedience to parents. Okay? Without understanding, covenant breakers, without natural affection, implacable, unmerciful, who knowing the judgment of Yah, that which they commit such things are worthy of death, not only do the same, but have pleasure in them that do them. You call yourself thinking you're fulfilling the will of Yah, but you are running over. And these people got loaded grenades ready to throw at you and blow up anybody that's with you. You got to think, man. It's like, people are shocked when they pick up a snake and play with it, they get bit. You done fed this snake, cockroach after cockroach and frogs and mice and rat and all of this stuff. And then people are shocked that they pet snake bit them. They venomous pet snake bit them. I didn't know, I've been with this snake 10 years and feeding it. Backbiters, haters of Yah, despiteful. These are the people that when you don't know which side of the war you on in the midst of the battle, you be running trying to save these people. Instead of trying to make whole those that have waved their white flag and are on the side of for righteousness' sake, that still may be struggling and need deliverance. Okay? During the times of war, you have to be confident and righteously aggressive. There ain't no time for passivity. There is no time to be passive, because at any given moment, whatever position you are fulfilling in righteousness, man, you might have the Most High Yah could want you to be used in another capacity that you yourself in the flesh say, man, I can't do that. I can't do that. You might want to be on the side where it's in the AC, it's nice and comfortable. You ain't really breaking no sweat, but that may only be for a moment. You got to understand, man, lives are being lost in the midst of the battlefield. You have some of the elect that are being led astray in the last days. And there might come a time where you're going to have to step up and fill a different position. If somebody gets taken out that's in a very defensive posture, that's securing the safety of the righteous, and they get taken out, you just gonna sit up there and watch as we get overran? No, you're gonna have to step up. During times of war, you have to be confident and righteously aggressive. Okay, Matthew chapter 24, verse 24. And when I'm talking about this, I'm talking about not only physically, but spiritually. Okay, for there shall arise false Christ and false prophets, and shall show great signs and wonders, insomuch that if they were possible, they would deceive the very elect. Man, I'm telling you, you have the elect. When you think about those coming to deceive the very elect, oftentimes it is the elites that are on the side of Hasatan that will try to lead astray the very elect. That's opposition. It's not on the same side. They're trying to deceive you so you can be on the side with them. Okay? Aggressive, ready, ready. See, people don't understand the training. They don't understand the training. Why, you know, young men and young women have to be brought up in righteousness. You don't wait till a battle kicks off or the engagement of war to say, you know what? We need to train. I realize we ain't trained. You already outmatched, outnumbered, not tactically sound, not technically sound, not doctrinally sound in this word. You know, if you don't know what the word of the Most High Yah says and you don't have that stored up into you, this is what I'm talking about being doctrinally sound. We know that some twist and warp the word. We know that they ain't doctrinally sound. Why? You got to look at what they spend their time doing. Spend their time adorning themselves externally, spending their time watching football, playing video games, eating hot pockets. Something's got to, in order to be ready, to be postured. It's not a hopes of, man, I hope nothing don't jump off. It's already then jumped off. It's being ready so when that position that somebody else has been filling moves on to something else or gets taken out in the worst case scenario, you're ready to jump right in. Okay? Ready or likely to attack or to confront. I talk about it, man. I remember being on, a deployment and not realizing the importance of having a clean weapon. I was worried about going back and doggone playing video games, getting on the phone in the midst of the battle. Even in this environment, I was more focused on the luxury than the focused on the things of necessity to survive a battle. You go to squeeze the trigger, get a malfunction off the rip. And that could have been avoided by doing, having a clean weapon. But after just letting this thing get dirty, sand and grit, and this is the thing, that one malfunction can be the difference between life and death. Likely to attack or confront, pursue one's aims and interests forcefully. You have to think, being ready, likely to attack. We're talking about the enemy. Guess what? If Hasatan is attacking you and you don't have that word stored up in you, what is your defense? You can't pull the trigger on nothing. At that moment, you got a spiritual malfunction. And you don't know how to navigate it. In your mindset, if you experience a spiritual malfunction, the weapon jams. Your pursuit in righteousness is under attack and you jam spiritually. Oftentimes people default back to carnal ways of trying to problem solve. Instead of saying, man, I need to find this word. Let me get to this word real quick and try to work through this. Hit the, charge the charging handle. Hit the forward assist. Try to get this to seat it again. Oftentimes what causes a malfunction is not really that complicated. It's just for a split second. If you know how to correct it, it's just the actual round is unseated from where it needs to be seated. And when you hit that forward assist, you're moving it not that far to get properly seated again, to be in line, and then you can squeeze that trigger. A lot of people lose out because they are not ready. They are not trained. They don't have the word stored up in their heart in the midst of this battle. So when that round, when under attack, when you could launch back, okay, in righteousness and defend your position, you don't have a word stored up to you. You're not seeking the word to get back properly seated in line. Don't be surprised. You get taken out. Okay. When we think about war, here's I want you to realize, man, people love watching a good war movie. People love this stuff. Anytime a war movie, something to do with combat, man, they love why this stuff sell out in the box office. But somewhere there's a form of spiritual retardation out there where people have this book open and world religion has softened up the minds of people. And like Shep was saying, man, they didn't made a whole religion out of cherry picking from that divider in your book, what they call the New Testament, and soften up the minds of people. So when you think about spiritual warfare, you got believers out there that don't even believe in spiritual warfare. And these are what are going to be casualties of war. These are not people that's going to see the kingdom at judgment day. Okay? Combat means fighting between armed forces. Most High Yah gives us in the physical and the spiritual, he gives us his Holy Spirit, his Ruach HaKodesh. Okay? He gives us his word. Fighting between armed forces. Take action to reduce or to prevent. Battle, a sustained fight between large organized armed forces. See, here's the thing. See, this Sunday sun worship has softened up your mind, and you don't realize that Hasatan is organizing. He will organize on your kids. He'll organize on your husband or your wife. He'll organize on your brother or sister, your own mama or daddy. He is recruiting. And people is flooding his recruiting statement day in and day out. He don't have no problem with recruitment at all. His numbers ain't dwindling. They're increasing. Why you think the heavens rejoice when one soul is saved? Because we know the numbers that he's putting up over there. Okay? War, a state of armed conflict between different nations or state or different groups within a nation or state. See, this is why we have to stop ear tickling. Got to stop ear tickling. Man, if you didn't watch the funeral of Rich Homie Quan, go back and check out some of the highlights of that. And this is why I say we got to stop ear tickling. We have to stop ear tickling. You have people saying, when you don't see the fruit of righteousness, and because you have died, and it's sad to people, these people say, you in a better place. He's in heaven now. And you should have saw, they were laying it on thick. But that's not what the book says. We got to stop ear tickling. And when I'm talking about it, you can't be doubtful. You cannot be undecisive. You got to be righteously aggressive. Here's something else. If your own mother or father lived their whole life as wicked, unrepentant, didn't want nothing to do with it, what make you think at a funeral somebody get up in their line that when you think about straight is the way, narrow is the gate, you ain't seen nothing they done that's proven they wanted to live a life like that they was convicted. We have to stop ear tickling. When I look at this stuff, I look at it and say, man, Hasatan destroyed another one. That's exactly what, when you think about them 7 end time judgment, what about these people that's outside knocking on the gate? They didn't make it in. They didn't make it in. Out of all these funerals that you see, you don't see nobody talking about no end time judgments. The 7 end time judgments. You see, it don't matter who died, your auntie, a friend, a co-worker, your child, your spouse, they made it in. We got to stop ear tickling. You don't get a doggone Purple Heart. You don't give nobody that's fighting for the other team, awards and honor when they was on the side of the enemy. But that's what we do. I see it all the time, especially in where I live. It's a lot of young kids being recruited by Hasatan, and they lose their life in the process. They lose their life in the process. See, he baits you and says, "Oh yeah, you're gonna be good. I'm gonna take care of you." But his taking care of means to destroy. He gonna destroy you because that's what we read in the word. He does. So you got to understand. Okay, uh, Hasatan will attack your kids, and next thing you know, if you are not supervising, paying close attention, your kid will be doing drugs. Your kid will be selling drugs, and when they lose their life because somebody that Hasatan recruited sell them some bad drugs, what is something that parents oftentimes do? They want somebody to tickle their ears at the funeral instead of calling it like it is. You want to sell T-shirts that say "R.I.P. Ray Ray," rest in peace, Shanisha. She's in a better place, and the pulpit get up there and do the same thing. When you know which side they was doggone defending. Man, I've seen it all where you have mothers get up there crying when they doggone child was the one doing the drive-by, lost their life. Here come the pastor. I'm like, you didn't, yeah, they're in a better place, and the angels, the messengers is rejoicing. All of this nonsense. That's why I told you, man. If I don't people better be lucky, even my own blood family. Because when it come time, if I ever get asked to do, I'm speaking to those that still got a doggone opportunity to choose what side of the war they on. Not wasting my time on people that have doggone, even if they are blood, wasted their time fighting for the enemy. In this moment, they're facing judgment. Everybody got to see Hamashiach. And for the people that's living, hey, some of y'all is not even allies. Some of y'all ain't friends. Some of y'all sitting up here is the enemy of Yah. And this day you're gonna have to choose. People don't move like that. Let's keep going. Man, when you look at that thumbnail, let me show you. The enemy wants to turn what was a patriarch into a matriarch. Look at Catholicism. Look at who they worship. They want to soften up the minds, okay? Soft, easy to mold, easy to fold, rather than rigid. We talking about in righteousness. Think about that. If you saying you on the side of righteousness, and the enemy can get his hands on you and mold you easily, conform you to what he wants you to do, you fold. Instead of having spine, instead of having backbone, you fold. You ain't nothing rigid about you. Man, that's a liability. Supple. When you look at that thumbnail, supple. The enemy wants the men supple. Bending and moving easily and gracefully, flexible. We supposed to be training, and you want to do ballet. You over there playing in your hair, and we supposed to be training. Training instills discipline. Getting in the word, having that word stored up in you, constantly seeking out the Most High Yah instills spiritual discipline. Oftentimes, when you see people like this that think they have the spirit, they're not operating in the true spirit of the Most High. Okay? On the other side of the thumbnail, you got somebody who's confident. You don't want nobody hesitant of what they were. You got a Johnson and some balls in between your legs, and you hesitant. I don't know if I'm a man. I might be a woman. Man, you have to be hardened. Hardened. You got to think about, do you want somebody soft and supple on the battlefield? You want a plush man? Here's another thing. See, a lot of women gonna find out your husband been going to church with you Sunday, sun worship. But when it comes time to war, to battle, that joker soft and supple. If it push come to shove, Walmart runs out of stuff and you can't get no food, you got the mindset that has been softened over time. He will let the family starve. Has the title of a man, but not operating at the full capacity of a man. Hardened, experienced in a particular job or activity, and therefore not easily upset by its more unpleasant aspect. You got some men, you just put them outside for 5 minutes, and you would swear they've been out there for 24 hours, sunbanking. That's not hardened. You got to think, you got men out there, they ain't gonna never tell you this. They won't keep the Feast of Tabernacles because they're soft and supple. They're not hardened. Who gonna go out there and stay in the booth, stay in a tent for 7 days? No. Why? This AC feels so good. That's the mindset. Reinforced, strengthened, or support. You got to think, man, how are you reinforced? Biblically, spiritually. How can you be reinforced if you're not constantly in this word? You know everything going on with P. Diddy, but you don't know nothing about this walk. You ain't reinforced. You got to understand, when the enemy fires something when Hasatan fires something at you, you don't want it to penetrate. That's the difference between regular steel and reinforced steel. You want to hear it tinging off that armor. Ting, ting, woo! You hit me, but you couldn't touch me. That's reinforced steel. You got to have this word stored up in you. So you are reinforced. Backed. See, it's all kind of, if you look at body armor, man, there's some body armor on Amazon, but it's not reinforced or backed by anything that's tested, that's tried and true. So you'll buy this little stuff that's meant for airsoft, that's meant for paintball, and when Hasatan send that doggone mortar round, you sitting up here properly thinking, yeah, I got my body armor on. You ain't been in the word. You ain't fasted. You ain't prayed up. Your walk ain't strong. And he's going to penetrate. He's going to penetrate. And then you got the stuff that is more costly, but it's reinforced. It's backed, guaranteed to stop. See, another one is, I want you to understand, man, when you read biblically, some people avoid passages in the book where the righteous have to war. And the reason they do that is because when they're watching stuff on TV, far as battles and war and combat movies, it's entertaining. But in reality, in real life, in the physical, warring and battling is gruesome, causing repulsion. Man, you want to throw up, You got to understand, man, you have to think about something being casted out of somebody. Warring in the spirit. Some people can't stomach that. It makes them want to throw up. Somebody over there getting delivered, and you can't take it. Causing repulsion or horror. Extremely unpleasant and shocking. It's unpleasant. Gruesome. Man, as a man, you're going to have to do some gruesome stuff. You got some men that push come to shove. Let me tell you something. If there was a deer that was right in front of them, you didn't even have to go out and try to find it. If the choice came down to this was the only way you could feed your family, all you had to do is pull the arrow back, strike it. You guaranteed meat, guaranteed food. You got some men that can't stomach it. Just the act in itself is too gruesome for them. You know what? They'd rather let their family starve. They can't stomach it. Okay. Isaiah chapter 5, verse 20. Woe unto them that call evil good and good evil, that put darkness for light and light for darkness, that put bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter. Think about that. Think about how many people is about to get out here and partake in evil come October 31st. You call these people your friend, not realizing that it is these people that's warring against you. That's warring against you. When you look at the history, how Christianity has adopted a lot of the pagan holiday, what they have done when you read that doctrine is they pretty much have adopted the ways of, the enemy, and they're out there trying to, well, we're gonna give out some candy too. The whole thing is just following their tradition. No wonder why you getting sucked into it. Woe unto them that call evil good and good evil, that put darkness for light. Proverbs chapter 27, verse 17. Iron sharpen iron, so a man sharpens the countenance of his friend. Man, that's not a pleasant action. That's not a pleasant experience. Man, if you take a ball-peen hammer and strike, you take a mallet and strike a piece of hot steel. I want you to understand, sometimes that hot steel is a brother that's enraged. His flesh don't want to change. But in order to be sharpened, man, you got to be forged. Cold forged. And then what they do to lock in the hardness, you hot as a mug. Hot. I don't want to change. And dip you in some cold water. Lock in the hardness. After you done been ground it down, sharpened, forged. 1 Peter chapter 1, verse 7. That the trial of your faith, being much more precious than the gold that perishes, though it be tried with fire, might be found unto praise and honor and glory at the appearing of Yahushua HaMashiach. Telling you, man, you have people out there that raise their hand and say, I have faith, I want faith, but they don't want to be tested. They run from the test. And in running from the test, you know where they run to, so they not tested in righteousness? They run to the enemy. They run to the enemy. 2 Timothy chapter 3, verse 1 through 5. This know also that in the last days perilous times shall come. I don't know why everybody out here sitting out here thinking that you going to all these folk church and you didn't been in the church your whole life. I was raised in the church, and you sit up here believing that at the end of the book, the whole world gets saved. Everybody going to the kingdom. You sitting out here with all of this stuff going on in the world. You talking about stuff getting better. It says men shall become lovers of their own selves. We're seeing that. Man, I don't want to be defending my position in the prone, supported, and you got your mind on my booty. Don't, definitely, no, no, no. Man, as a drill sergeant, I'm going to give you a little story. Man, there was this joker looked like Bubba Gump, off of Forrest Gump, had a big bottom lip. And let's just say he was on the other side. In the middle of training, we out at the dog. It don't matter if we was out at the shooting range. He was always mouth breathing, looking at me. And I'm like, man, something is wrong. This is before I was walking in truth. Something wrong with this joker, the way he looking. He would just be like this. He's supposed to be shooting, but I would walk by and he would just come to find out. During a wall locker inspection one day, man, that joker had wrote about me in his journal. Ooh, this drill sergeant so chocolatey. Ooh, I would like to have. You got to think, his mind was on some foolishness. He's supposed to be in the transformation process. And the other drill sergeant, man, they took that book and read it out. Man, they was having a field day with that book. I didn't find it funny at all. But that joker had to get tightened up to where he could get his mind focused on the task at hand and off of me. And yeah, it was some sweat equity that had to be had. Okay. We are in the last days. Men shall be lovers of their own self, covetous. Instead of defending a position, they worried about what you got. They looking at your wife. They looking at what you've been blessed with. Boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy, without natural affection, truce breakers. See, they didn't break the truth because just the timeline didn't line up. No, they broke a truth intentionally. False accusers. Right now, man, look at this. P. Diddy ain't stood no trial, but there's so much stuff out there that people have come up with, and they're not in a position to adjudicate. They're not active participants in the trial, nor were they active witnesses. I'm just making it up. I'm showing you. It's like people want you, people that's fighting for the enemy, they take pleasure in the unrighteousness, in the doggone wickedness that the enemy actually it's cooking up when you on the same doggone side of being a covetous, blasphemer, incontinent, fierce, despisers of those that are good. You got the people on the side of Hasatan that think that they doing good. Oh, just let them be. Don't say nothing. That shouldn't vex your spirit. Just let them be. Let them be happy. Okay. Let's see. Traitors. Woo, talked about that. You didn't mess around, was on this side. You've had elect that was on the side of righteousness turn to traitors. Start selling secrets. Heady, high-minded, lovers of pleasure more than lovers of Yah. You got to understand, you went from, okay, learning how to keep the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High Yah, learning how to have faith with works. You went back to pleasure instead of righteousness. Oh, them commandments was burdensome. They was grievous. Man, I could have been at a Dallas Cowboy game instead of keeping it Sabbath. I could have been at Florida State Seminole game instead of keeping it Sabbath. It says having a form of godliness, but denying the power thereof. From such turn away. In some translations, it says avoid such people. Problem is, we don't want to avoid them. We don't want to avoid them. Instead, we befriend them. Wonder why there's so many monitoring spirits that's every time you make a move, they right there to block you. Man, when you are about to do something in righteousness and you have befriended the enemy, don't be surprised when the enemy comes up right in the moment before you're about to execute something righteous or strengthen your walk or walk in righteousness with an emergency. Don't be surprised. Don't be surprised if you were about to make a public declaration, if you was about to do something that the word tells us to do, and it's going to cause you to go one way, but somebody that is on the side of Hasatan that you have befriended, that is ultimately an enemy, comes and says, hey, we got this coming up. It's happening one time in a year, and we just wanted to see, man, you ain't going to have to pay no way. We got you covered. It's going to present itself like that. And in that moment, you're going to have to choose which way you're going to go. Because some of these people, your enemy, oftentimes if they can distract you, you never fulfill the will of the Most High. Okay? Exodus chapter 15, verse 3. The Lord is a man of war. The Lord is his name. Exodus 22:18. Thou shalt not suffer a witch to live. Why? We ain't fighting the same doggone spiritual war. You the one throwing these darts. You the one shooting these rounds over here. Thou shalt not suffer a witch to live. You see more people in love with witches. People sitting up talking about the relationship that them and their mama got, and they mama, they giving testimony that they mama's a still active participant in witchcraft. And you want me to believe that you on the side of righteousness says you should not suffer a witch to live. You won't even cut them off. You won't even avoid them. You over there eating spaghetti made by witches. Genesis chapter 14, verse 14. This stuff is real. And when Abraham heard that his brother was taken, this is Abraham. Abraham was counted as righteous. See, you got these minds of these soft and supple men that when it's time to war in righteousness, no. Let's just sing. Instead of casting out, they want to sing kumbaya. 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 And they're gonna have that background music hitting too. And if you don't got that word stored up in your heart when it's time to spiritually war, to be aggressive rightfully, you be in there singing it with them. Kumbaya. Kumbaya. Ain't done nothing that the Most High Yah told you to do. And when Abraham heard that his brother was taken captive, who was he taken captive by? Friends? Family? He wasn't taken captive by nobody that loves him in action. No, it was the enemy. It said he armed his trained servants, born in his own house, 318, and pursued them unto Dan. That's Genesis chapter 14. I encourage, if you haven't read that, you go back and read it. No matter how much you want war not to be in the book, no matter how much you want it to be non-existent biblically of the righteous warring with the wicked, it's in there. No matter how much these translators remove out of the book, like they've done in the NLT, it's in there. Okay. Numbers 31, verse 1 through 7. And the Lord spoke unto Moses, saying, avenge the children of Israel. Woo! Avenge the children of Israel of the Midianites. Afterwards shall they be gathered unto the people. And Moses speak unto the people, saying, arm some of yourselves unto the war. Arm some of yourselves unto the war. We ready. Get ready. And let them go against the Midianites to avenge the Lord of the Midian. Of every tribe 1,000 throughout all the tribes of Israel shall you send to the war. Telling you, man, there's going to come a time. There's going to come a time. And I want you to think, some people got the faith to where it's comfortable. Oh, right now I'm good. Boy, I'm in a good place spiritually. But when it's time to war and you get the order, Abraham was counted as righteous. When you get the order, it's time to move out. Pack your bag. Now all of a sudden you sick to stuff. You know, I got diarrhea. I've seen that plenty of times. People swear up and down they're for the cause. And the minute it's time to ride out, man, you'd be surprised. My last deployment, man, I had a soldier that wanted to, he was like, man, I want to make it to the top. Wasn't willing to overcome some of his fears. Joker heard from the unit that we was replacing, man, yeah, they lost a couple people. You know, one of their Chinooks got shot down. The minute I had this joke, I said, hey, I need you to, gave him an order. You're going to take this Chinook. You're going to fly you to a location. You're going to drop off some communication parts. Next day, it's time to roll out. Man, Joe had diarrhea. I ended up having to go. Didn't mind going. I did a lot of those trips. Every time I would come back, the first couple times, Joe could be in there laughing, playing cards. Send his butt back. Send his butt back. Joker wanted to have the spoils of war, but don't want to be an active participant. Got a lot of people like that. Okay. And Moses sent them to the war, 1,000 of every tribe, them and he is the son of Eleazar the priest to war with the holy instruments and the trumpets to blow in his hand. And they warred against the Midianites as the Lord commanded Moses, and they slew all the males. Man, you need to go back and read about that, because see, when war takes place, the stuff that we didn't conjured up in our mind is saying that ain't right. You will read this right here and you'll be like, dang. They took the spoils of war, including the women. And the Most High Yah, when he's talking about shaving a woman's head, no, this is the spoils of war. Make her deny where she came from. If you want to take her as a wife, we'll see this stuff. Oh, they went over there, they was over there raping them and all of this and all this. But biblically, man, this is the process. Psalms 18:24-50. Therefore hath the Lord recompensed me according to my righteousness, according to the cleanliness of my hands in his eyesight. See, what you call is carnal wickedness, the Most High Yah looking through it to a different lens. He's looking through it. Hey, you was obedient. You did what I told you to do. See, on earth, we look at it as bloodshed. Let's sing Kumbaya instead of this bloodshed, instead of warring. Verse 25, with merciful, thou wilt show thyself merciful. With an upright man, thou wilt show thyself upright. With an upright man. Problem is, you trying to show mercy and favor and all of this stuff to the down low man that want to stay low. With the pure thou wilt show thyself pure, and with the forward thou wilt show thyself forward. For thou wilt save afflicted people, but will bring down high looks. For thou wilt light my candle, the Lord my Yah will enlighten my darkness. For by thee I have run through a troop, and by my Yah I have leaped over a wall. As for Yah, his way is perfect. The way of the Lord is tried. He is a buckler to all that trust in him. For those for who is Yah saved the Lord, or who is a rock saved our Yah. It is Yah that girdeth me with strength and maketh my way perfect. He maketh my feet like hinds feet and setteth me upon high places. He teaches my hands to war, so that a bow of steel is broken by my arms. Thou have also given me the shield of thy salvation. What you need a shield for? We wasn't at war. What you need a shield for? Come on. And thy right hand holding me up, and thy gentleness have made me great. Thou have enlarged my steps under me, that my feet did not slip. I have pursued mine enemies and overtaken them. Neither did I turn again till they were consumed. You would say that's savagery. That's what carnal people would say. Oh, no. Oh, no. I have wounded them that they were not able to rise, that they are falling under my feet. Here's the problem. You might be on the battlefield talking about you got faith, and you over there scratching the back of the enemy, giving the enemy your ration. For thou have girded me up with strength unto the battle. Thou have subdued under me those. Hold on, my doggone thing that froze on me. Give me 1 second. Would have a malfunction while we in here talking about warring. Hold on 1 second, Israel. Let me get this right. This thing then froze on me. Let me get up in here. Let me close this out real quick. All right, we're gonna move it like this because this thing then closed up on me. All right, let me get back to where I was. Just bear with me for a second. All right, let's go. Starting at verse 38. I have wounded them that they were not able to rise, that they are fallen under my feet. For thou hast girded me up with strength unto the battle. Thou hast subdued under me those that rose up against me. See, there are people that rise up against you. When you think about presumptuousness, that's a rising up. That's an act of the enemy. Okay. Thou have also given me the necks of mine enemies that I might destroy them that hate me. Come on, wait a minute. You over here trying to say the enemy. They cried, but there was none to save them. Unto the Lord, but he answered them not. Let you know they're not on the right side of the war. Then did I beat them small as the dust before the wind. I did cast them out as the dirt of the streets. Thou have delivered me from the strivings of people, and thou have made me the head of the heathens. A people whom I have not known shall serve me. As soon as they hear me, they shall obey me. The strangers shall submit themselves unto me. The stranger shall fade away and be afraid out of their close places. The Lord liveth, and blessed be my rock, and let Yah of my salvation be exalted. It is Yah that avenged me and subdueth the people under me. He delivered me from mine enemies. Yeah, thou liftest me up above those that rise up against me. Thou that hast delivered me from the violent man. Therefore will I give thanks unto thee, O Lord, among the heathen, and sing praises unto thy name. Great deliverance giveth he to his king, and showeth mercy to his anointed, to David, and to his seed forevermore. We're going to talk about a little bit later on these deceivable seeds out here. See, you would think that they are a pure seed, but they're not. Psalms 144, 1 through 3. Blessed be the Lord, my strength, which teacheth my hands to war, and my fingers to fight, my goodness and my fortress, my high tower, my deliverer, my shield, and he in whom I trust, who subdueth my people under me. Lord, what is a man that thou takest knowledge of him, or the son of man that thou makest account of him? Ecclesiastes 3:1, to everything there is a season and a time and purpose under the heaven. Ecclesiastes 3:8, a time to love, okay? A time to hate, a time of war, and a time of peace. So what will you do when the Most High Yah is transitioning out of these seasons, but you don't want to change seasons? The Most High Yah reveals who's wicked, who's fighting for the enemy, and the time of you loving them has come to pass. And instead of having the true spirit that you would have towards the enemy, you're stuck in love mode, and it's a time to hate. And you missed that one, missed that season, and a time to war. You miss out on that one. You have to think, after all this has taken place, love, hate, war. When you think about the calm, once it's all settled, think about the peace after that, the calm after the storm. James chapter 4, verse 1 through 4. From whence come wars and fighting among you? Come they not hence, even your lust that war in your members? You lust and have not. You kill and desire to have and cannot obtain. You fight and war, yet you have not because you ask not. You ask and receive not because you amiss, that you may consume it upon your lust. You adulterers and adulteress, know you not that friendship of the world is enmity with Yah? Whosoever therefore will be a friend of the world is the enemy of Yah. See, oftentimes see, if you got any part of you that love the ways of the world and you are uncertain about coming out from among them, about denouncing it, if any part of you, guess what? You're going to be an enemy of the Most High. He's not making no exception. Nowhere in that book does he say, okay, you got baptized in the Baptist church. You did a public declaration of your faith for this year only. I'm going to let you go out there and you can go out there and keep all the heathen holidays. That's what friendship with the world looks like. 1 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 9 through 11. Know you not that the unrighteous shall not inherit the kingdom of Yah? You got to think about it. They've been on the side of the enemy, didn't want to surrender, didn't want to raise the white flag, didn't want to obey, couldn't count on them. It says, be not deceived, neither fornicators, nor idolaters, nor adulterers, nor effeminate, nor abusers of themselves with mankind, nor thieves, nor covetous, nor drunkards, nor revilers, nor extortioners shall inherit the kingdom of Yah. And such were some of you, but you were washed. Did he forcefully wash you? Or did you want to be washed? Think about how you came into this thing. Were you convicted, or did somebody hold a gun to your head? But you were washed, but you were sanctified, but you are justified in the name of the Lord Yahshua by the Spirit of our Yah. 1 Chronicles 28:20. And David said to Solomon his son, be strong and of good courage, and do it. Fear not, nor be dismayed, for the Lord Yah, even my Yah, will be with thee. He will not fail thee, nor forsake thee, until thou have finished all the work for the service of the house of the Lord. This is very important. Be strong and of good courage. Don't be soft. Don't fold. Don't be a rock turned to Play-Doh. Matthew chapter 4, verse 1 through 11. Okay? And this is letting you know the war. When you think about the war that all of those that was counted as righteous faced, it is real. This is a battle of, Hasatan and Hamashiach. Then Yahshua led up of the spirit into the wilderness to be tempted of the devil. And when they had fasted 40 days and 40 nights, he was afterwards and hungered. And when the tempter came to him, he said, if thou be the son of Yah, command that these stones be made bread. But he answered and said, it is written, man shall not see. He answered, his defense was the word. His defense was the word. But he answered and said, is it written, man shall not live by bread alone, but every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of Yah. See, what is your defense when you don't have the word stored up in you and the tempter comes to tempt you? Then Hasatan taketh him up into the holy city and setteth him on a pinnacle of the temple. You got to think about it. When you think about Hasatan, where his only dominion is, where his only power is, you got to think about it. And saith to him, if thou be the son of Yah, cast thyself down, for it is written. See, this is a good example. This is why you don't have no excuse for not staying up in that word, studying to show yourself approved. Because this is an example of Hasatan. The enemy knows the playbook. But the spirit of understanding hasn't been given to the enemy. Enemy just gonna quote stuff to try to confuse you. And if you are not grounded in truth, you ain't gonna be able to go back and forth with this. Cast thyself down, for it is written, he shall give his angels charge concerning thee, and in their hands they shall bear thee up, lest at any time thou dash thy foot against a stone. Yahshua said unto him, it is written again. Woo! He not only gave it to him one time, gave it to him twice. It is written again. Thou shalt not tempt the Lord of thy Yah again. So don't think that just off one passage, you hear one little ricochet off your armor, tink, that's it. Like the enemy ain't going to keep sending rounds. No, the enemy going to keep firing. Again, the devil taketh him up into an exceeding high mountain and showeth him all the kingdoms of the world and the glory of them. It's kind of like this same thing is the same thing that happened with Eve in the garden. You look at what Hasatan tempted Eve with. She already had her, and Adam and Chua was told to care for. Hasatan came in and said, I'm gonna make a god out of you. You could be just like God. You got to understand, most people don't know why Hasatan got kicked out of the kingdom. How he became fallen himself. tried to exalt himself to the same level, okay, and showeth him all that the kingdoms of the world and the glory of them, and said unto him, all these things I will give thee if thou wilt fall down and worship me. Come on. This is an example of the wicked trying to lead astray the elect. That's an example. Verse 10, then saith Yahushua unto him, get thee hence, Satan, for it is written, thou shalt worship the Lord thy Yah, and him only shalt thou serve. Okay, let's go back to the 10 words, the 10 davrim. You shall have no other Yah than me, no other God than me. Verse 11, then the devil leaveth him. So it was after, okay, there was a couple ricochets. Messiah caught a couple of them rounds that Hasatan was firing. Tink, tink, tink. After realizing, man, this ain't working. This is not penetrating that armor. The word is your armor. Verse 11, then Hasatan leaveth him, and behold, angels come and ministered unto him. 2 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 13 through 15. For such are false apostles. These people are going to know of the word, but they're not going to give you the word in accuracy. Deceitful workers transforming themselves into apostles of Hamashiach. And no marvel, for Satan himself is transformed into an angel of light. So a lot of times people don't realize the light, when the light that they see don't line up with truth, don't line up with a righteous lifestyle, but is a light that justifies wickedness. Man, you looking at you. Here's the thing: you got a genuine light. Here's the difference: if we take a completely dark room where all the windows are shut, and we doggone open the blinds, open the curtains, open the shutters, you're gonna see the natural light. You're gonna see pure light. Okay, but if Hasatan is in the room with a surefire light, that's man-made. That's battery operated. It's not the same thing as that natural light. And oftentimes, when we look at lights in this daytime and hour, the technology is so advanced to where they got high power lights that generate more lumens than natural light. So they are really appealing. And people don't realize they're looking at a light that stems from Hasatan. Therefore, it is no great thing if his ministers also be transformed. So his servants, Hasatan's servants, also be transformed into ministers of the righteous, servants of the righteous, whose end shall be according to their works. So Hasatan got people, servants amongst the righteous, and their goal is to deceive you. Come on, man. 2 Peter chapter 3, verse 16. As also in his epistles, speaking in them of these things, in which are some things hard to be understood, which they that are unlearned and unstable rest, as they do all the other scriptures, unto their own destruction. You got to understand, Hasatan has the playbook. He knows it. He wasn't always falling, so he knows the playbook. Look at the engagement that he had with Hamashiach. Even in that, knowing the playbook, okay, when you look at a football play, I'm just using this example, you look at a football play, you might see X's and O's. But without a spirit of understanding, without the Ruach HaKodesh, you don't know that this X or this O or this line is in, respective to an actual person. You don't know who goes with what. So you just twist and warp this stuff to your own destruction. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 12. That they might be damned who believe not the truth, but had pleasure. See, this is not an ignorant form of unrighteousness. We're talking about the enemy. We're talking about they had pleasure in unrighteousness. First Maccabees chapter 5, verse 54 through 64. Now, when the 15th day of the month of Caslu, in the 145th year, they set up an abomination of desolate upon the altar and builded idol altars throughout the cities of Judah on every side. So that's what the enemy does. The enemy is playing capture the flag. You got to understand, he wants to destroy. When you think about the temple, you are the temple of the living Elohim. His goal is to capture you. And he's going to turn you into a doggone an idol, and burn incense at the door of their houses and in the streets. And when they had rent into pieces of the book of the law, which they found, they burnt them with fire. And whosoever was found with any book of the testaments, or if any committed to the law, the king's commandment was that they should put him to death. That sounds like war against the righteous, right? Definitely is war against the righteous. Those that wanted to obey. Let's keep going. Verse 58, thus did they by their authority unto the Israelites every month, to as many as were found in the cities. So they were constantly warring with the Israelites every month. Now in the 25th day of the month, they did sacrifice unto the idol altar, which was upon the altar of the Most High Yah. At which time, according to the commandment, they put to death certain women that had caused their children to be circumcised. And they hanged the infants about their necks and rifled their houses and slew them that had circumcised them. Howbeit, many in Israel were fully resolved and conformed in themselves not to eat anything unclean. So they said, you know what? I know what side I'm on. I'm confident that I don't need to be doing this stuff. I don't even care if the new king, if King Antiochus came up with this stuff saying we can do it. Nope, I'm fully resolved, confirmed, confident, hardened. Wherefore, the rather to die, that they might not be defiled with meat, and that they might not profane the holy covenant. So then they died. They lost their life on the battlefield for righteousness' sake. Verse 64, and there was very great wrath upon Israel. I want you to understand this in the midst of the battle. See, people look at leadership and they covet after leadership. They look at the authority that comes with it. Oftentimes they look at the spoils that leadership has to offer, not realizing, man, you're looking at people that have had to go through some situations, some experience, some conflict that you yourself can't stomach. You got to think, some of these people, when you look at leadership, oftentimes good leaders started from the bottom and now they're here. You just didn't jump right into that. Most High Yah is promoting within. When you first, now here's something else. When you are more concerned with titles than you are walking in truth, guess what? You will go to any place, regardless of what false doctrine or damnable doctrine they teaching, in order to try to get your promotion before time. You might not even meet the qualifications from these, but guess what? When you think about the word that says, woe to the pastor that scattered the sheep of my flock, where did these people get their titles from? See, you got to think, just because you could go to a 4-year college and come out and they give you the title of pastor, in righteousness, you may never be qualified to do that. So you have to look at this. Some people are more focused on the titles than they are actually learning the process, how to be a biblically, righteously sound leader. The first thing you got to do, you just don't jump in following Messiah right into leadership, because Messiah is the example, not you. So you got to be a follower first. You got to think, this is the reason you see a lot of foolishness in Sunday sun worship. It don't matter which part of religion it is. People have jumped into positions of leadership and put stumbling blocks before people, led so many people astray. And the Most High Yah tells you he's going to have to appoint real shepherds to undo some of the foolishness that's been done. Okay, Deuteronomy chapter 1, verse 9 through 14. At that time I said unto you, I am not able to bear you by myself. The Lord your Yah has multiplied you, and behold, you are today as numbered as the stars of heaven. May the Lord, the Yah of your fathers, make you 1,000 times as many as you are, and bless you as he has promised you. How can I bear by myself the weight and burden of you and your strife? Choose for your tribes wise, understanding that experienced men, and I will appoint them as your heads. And you answered me, the thing that you have spoken is good for us to do. Hebrews chapter 13, verse 17. Obey them that have rule over you, and submit yourselves, for they watch for your souls as they that must give an account, that they may do it with joy and not with grief, for that is unprofitable for you. So when you think about, if you have submitted your life unto the teachings of Hamashiach, you've also submitted your life to the teachings of Moses, that the Most High Yah gave to Moses at Sinai, because Messiah said, hey, man, it's written. If you would have believed in the writings of Moses, you would have believed in me. So there ain't one without the other. Man, we are at war with people who will try to lead you astray. See, when you don't know the tactics of the enemy, it's very easy for you to be led astray and sucked into all kind of stuff, and because you are unstudied, don't have the ruach. You can't war righteously when you're not filled with the Holy Spirit, the Ruach HaKodesh, when you're not walking in truth, keeping his laws, statutes, and commandments. You can't war. You can't. So we are at war with people that try to lead you astray. Matthew chapter 7, verse 15 through 20. Beware of false prophets who come to you in sheep's clothing. The sheep's clothing is a disguise. Is a disguise. But inwardly are ravenous wolves. You will recognize them by their fruits. Are grapes gathered from thorn bushes, or figs from thistles? So every healthy tree bears good fruit, but the diseased tree bears bad fruit. See, you got to cut off the diseased from among you. A healthy tree cannot bear bad fruit, nor can a diseased tree bear good fruit. Every tree that does not bear good fruit is cut down and thrown into the fire. Thus you will recognize them by their fruits. You got to be able to tell the difference between, okay, genetically modified and unmodified, natural, created the way the Most High Yah, heirloom. Most people can't do it. They see what's on the shelf and they say, you know what, that's good fruit. That's good fruit right there. Tastes sweet, but you don't know the history behind it, the deception behind it. We are at war with the doctrine of demons. Any doctrine out there that's contrary to the word of Yah, that leads people astray from the Most High Yah and his righteousness, is the doctrine of demons. 1 Timothy chapter 4, verse 1. Now the Spirit expressly says that in the later times, some will depart from the faith by devoting themselves to deceitful spirits and the teachings of demons. That's who they've surrendered to. So when you see people defending Trinity, when you see people defending rapture, they didn't got sucked into this stuff. When you see people, teaching Christmas doctrine that they don't get from the book, man, they've surrendered to this stuff. When you see people trying to use the book and use articles and stuff written by the lawless and trying to get the word to fit it, man, they've submitted themselves to deceitful spirits and the teaching of demons. Hebrews chapter 13, verse 9. Do not be led away by diverse and strange teachings. He gives warning for this. We're at war with this. See, this is what I call a soft attack. See, the doctrine is going to soften you up over time. When you look at the NLT and how many verses they remove, that's going to soften the minds of the people up. You're not going to have the fullness of the word. There's a Bible version out there called the Queen James version. It's going to soften the people up. For it is good for the heart to be strengthened by grace, not by foods which have not benefited those devoted to them. Okay, Romans 16:17. I appeal to you, brothers, to watch out for those who cause divisions and create obstacles contrary to the doctrine that you have been taught. Avoid them. Think about this. It's all kind of doctrine out there. And it's easy for you to get sucked in to people's opinions that they have doctrinized, that they have made formal doctrine, their feelings, emotions that they have put on paper, put on record, and they call it doctrine. But this stuff is diverse and strange teaching, deceitful spirit. What spirit do they have when they wrote that opinion, that feeling, that article? Okay, it says avoid them. You up here trying to love on them and invite them to the cookout. Ephesians chapter 4, verse 13. So that we may no longer be children, tossed to and fro by the waves and carried by every wind of doctrine. You got to think, man, when you don't know what plate of food is unmodified and you eating off everybody's plate, this fake over here, this made in the lab, man, you carry to and fro in the wind of doctrine. Man, the Hasatan is constantly cooking up a new doctrine to try to take you to and fro. You're not stable. You're not grounded. You're not grounded. That's why I always come back to where's that in the word? And when they can't prove it to you, that's when they start saying stuff. Where's a thermos in the word? Trying to confuse you. I talked about that. When they cannot get you deceived because you're biblically sound and say that ain't in there. How do you know what's not in the book if you're not studied on the word? How can you war when you got an M4 that's chambered in 5.56, but you've never paid attention to what kind of rounds actually go in there? Here you are trying to load 22 caliber in a 5.56 magazine, a 223 magazine. You over here trying to put 5.56 in a 9mm magazine. How can you war like that? 2 John 9. Everyone who goes on ahead and does not abide in the teachings of Hamashiach does not have Yah. Listen to this. Everyone who goes on ahead and does not abide in the teachings of Hamashiach. Okay, look at all these people that say they believe, but don't abide in the teachings. We see biblically, Moses wrote of Hamashiach. Hamashiach didn't discredit Moses, but said, hey, if you had belief in him, you would have believed me. Does not have Yah. Whoever abides in the teachings has both the Father and the Son. See, religion has softened your mind up to where they have taken and extracted Hamashiach, made him an idol that's apart from the will of the Most High Yah. They've tried to separate it. This is how they try to separate the law from Hamashiach. When Hamashiach was mentioning, okay, referencing commandments of the old in world religion, they'll take those out and say these are new commandments. These are the laws of Hamashiach. Because when the word says they are unstudied and unlearned, they don't realize that Hamashiach ain't doing nothing but talking about Torah the whole time. So they discredit Moses when they say the law is done away with. They separate the Father and the Son because was it Moses' will? Did Moses wake up one day and say, man, I'm gonna hike up to Mount Sinai and I'm gonna make these 10 words. I'm gonna take me 2 tablets. They're gonna be nice, they're gonna be marble. Did he come up with that on his own? Or did the Most High Yah summon Moses? So if Moses was summoned by the Most High Yah, is that not the will of the Most High Yah? See, you let these people try to, you look at Catholicism, what have they done? They've extracted Mary and come up with a matriarchal religion. They extract Hamashiach, separate him from the will of the Father, come up with an idolatrous religion. It's letting you know whoever abides in the teaching has both the Father and the Son. 1 Timothy chapter 6, verse 3. If anyone teaches a different doctrine, see, that's the problem. You eating off people's plate that's still partaking with the doctrine of demons. If anyone teaches a different doctrine and does not agree with sound words of our Lord Yeshua HaMashiach in the teaching that accord, listen to me, it's giving you two places to verify that does not agree with sound words of our Lord Yeshua HaMashiach and the teaching that accords with godliness. So that is including those that were anointed by the Most High Yah that gave us peace of the book. When you look at the prophets, they was counted as righteous. 2 Timothy chapter 4, verse 3 through 4. For the time is coming when people will not endure sound teaching, but having itching ears, they will accumulate for themselves teachers to suit their own passions and will turn away from listening to truth and wander off. Man, I didn't have people offer to invite me to their church because their pastor was funny. Listen to what I'm saying. People say, man, you come out to my church, man. It's not like those dry churches. Man, my pastor will crack you up. I don't give a damn about getting cracked up. Is he telling the truth? Is he teaching the doctrine of doggone demons? You got to listen to all these different types of bait. Half the time will you got to look at it, man. In the middle of the battlefield, there's certain things that stick out like a sore thumb. You got to look at this. Man, right now, they are warning women to, if you see a stroller on the side of the road in the middle of nowhere, don't pull over and get out your car. This is real. Because what has happened? When you think about a woman being the weaker vessel, being naive, you'll be in the middle of nowhere, 50 miles from the nearest city, both ways. Here's a stroller with a little recorder in there. Hey, hey, hey. You will pull your car over trying to be a good Samaritan, try to save a doggone baby, and then got your butt kidnapped, sold for sexual immorality. That's the enemy. So it's certain things that in the battlefield, you have to be able to recognize, man, that's out of place. That's out of place. Man, these people, they don't want sound doctrine. I did a video on that yesterday or the day before. That when sometimes these people want to get you wrapped up in an argument so you can transgress the Most High, or so they can confuse you. When you show people flat out what the book says, multiple places, multiple examples, and they reject it, you're looking at somebody that will not endure sound teaching. And this is why they gravitate towards pastors and teachers that are fashionable, that are comedians. Oh man, man, I like my pastor, man, because First Lady be fly as a mug. Pastor's so stylish, so hip. That's why they gravitate to that stuff. And you got to look at it. Okay, what is it that they're into and why they gravitate to that style of teaching? Come on. Hamashiach wasn't cracking no jokes. Hamashiach wasn't with the times. Hamashiach didn't have on Burberry. You would have seen some ashy toes, some ashy kneecaps, some hair that looked like it ain't been combed. I'm telling you. And these people right here, when it says will accumulate to themselves teachers that suit their own passion. What are your passions? And will turn away from listening to the truth. Man, this is your enemy. And wander off into myths, fables. 2 Peter chapter 2, verse 1 through 3. But false prophets also arose among the people, just as there will be false teachers among you. They already inside the camp. They're already inside the camp. Man, I'm real cautious. I don't interact in my line of work, I don't interact with ally nations. One reason I choose not to is I've had other opportunities to be able to interact where you probably could have got promoted very fast in doing some of these positions, but I chose not to interact with allied nations in positions that caused me to do that. And the reason for that is because I know there's a common interest. Oftentimes behind the scenes politically, it's money, it's resources. So imagine if the uniform that I wear, I take one of these positions where I got to teach allies. Once an ally's interest is no longer common, they become an enemy. So what does that mean for me if I've taken part in teaching the enemy, an ally that turned enemy? That's why I've avoided those positions. I see them around, but I'm like, good. Keep an eye on this joker. They teach them our playbook. It says, but false prophets also arose among the people. So among the people, when you think about this, false prophet, you're going to have people that's amongst you. Instead of prophesying, they're going to start prophesying. Instead of going the way the Most High Yah told you to go, they're going to stand up. God told me to tell you this. You a whole man out here, and God told them to tell you that this your season to find a husband, and you a man? Like, you cannot listen to these folk. This is your own family and friends. They amongst you who will secretly bring in destructive heresies. They're going to tell you that they are of the Most High, even denying the master who brought them, bringing upon themselves swift destruction. And here's the thing. Even the people amongst you, verse 2 says, and many will follow their sensuality. We talked about carnal wisdom. It's sensual. It's devilish. Earthly. So you got people think that they following the wisdom of the word, and they following carnal wisdom, their sensuality. And because of them, the way of truth will be blasphemed. And in their greed, they will exploit you with false words. You got to know when somebody is exploiting you with false words. I'm talking about, okay, there's a difference. Man, when I first joined, there was a guy who on the weekend, we was getting ready to go on a deployment. I'm going out to the club at this time. I wasn't walking in truth. I was getting drunk. I was living a rebellious life. I'm gonna tell you that much. We had one guy, 3-4 months out from the deployment, he was just submerging himself in anything pertaining to tactics in this. And this dude has gone on and been far. Doing stuff where you fall off the radar as far as you on a whole nother level. Agencies that we don't even know about. I knew a guy like this. I'm worried about partying and all of this. I said, man, a little bit of training I got is good. I found out in the middle of a deployment when bullets got flying. Nope, I should have been learning more. And in their greed will exploit you with false words. Man, you got to have this word stored up in your heart is to be spiritually, tactically sound. Their condemnation from long ago is not idle. It's working. And their destruction is not asleep. So you think these people done with their foolish ways. And it's still alive in them. Ephesians chapter 6, verse 11 through 12. Put on the whole armor of Yah. Dang, you wouldn't need to do this if we wasn't in a war, right? If everybody was throwing loaves of bread and buttered biscuits, you'd be good, right? No, it says put on the whole armor that you may be able to stand against the schemes, the tactics of the devil of Hasatan. For we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the cosmic powers over this present darkness. Who's over this present darkness? Who wants to keep the light off in the room? Here you are walking away from opening the shutters, somebody coming behind you trying to close it. And then in lieu of that, on the other side of the room, they standing there with a surefire flashlight. Satan disguises himself like an angel of light against the spiritual forces of evil in heavenly places. Man, when you look at that thumbnail, I want you to understand that I'm not talking about the flesh, the choices that the flesh, I'm talking about the spirit that caused the flesh to make those choices. That's what I'm talking about. Okay. And this is why you cannot allow this stuff, no evil amongst you. This is why you cannot allow this in, because that spirit is looking, that is a spirit that is recruiting for wickedness. And this is why this stuff spreads like a plague. Stand therefore, having fastened on the belt of truth. Dang, well, how can you stand there with armor when your belt is of damnable doctrine, is of the doctrine of demons, and having put on the breastplate of righteousness? You standing there beating your chest thinking you got some armor on, but it's a breastplate of wickedness, of lawlessness. And as shoes for your feet, having put on the readiness. See, you got to be ready, given by the gospel of peace. In all circumstances, take up the shield of faith, with which you can extinguish all the flaming darts of the evil. I told you, he's throwing them. People choose not to look at it. You got people in Christianity, all this stuff, and they choose not to believe this. The evil one is not handing out peppermint candy. He's not handing out ginger candy to soothe your stomach. He's got darts on, and the end of them darts is poison. And take the helmet of salvation and the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of Yah, praying at all times in the Spirit, with all prayer and supplication. To that end, keep alert with all perseverance, making supplication for all the saints, and also for me, that words may be given to me in opening my mouth boldly to proclaim the mystery of the Basura, for which I am an ambassador in chains, that I may declare it boldly as I ought to speak. That's breaking down the levels, the different gears that you got to have in order to be tactically sound. Man, if you don't have this in the midst of the war, you're going to be a doggone crash dummy. A doggone sissy running out there with your shirt tied inside out, thinking you finna go save the wicked. This is people amongst you that have been led astray. Ecclesiastes chapter 10, verse 9. We talked about different seeds. You got stuff nowadays genetically modified, made in a lab, seeds that don't actually come from fruit. This is all the stuff. They that fear the Lord are a sure seed. So when you think about people before they do something, they say, man, the fear, you can see the fear of the Most High Yah upon them, that's letting you know they're a sure seed. Man, before I do this, let me see what the words say. Because I want to make sure, because it's of the fear of the Most High. And they that love him, an honorable plant. Okay, when you see love, it's not a feeling of love. The word says those that love him keep his commandments, and his commandments are not burdensome. Those that love him, obey him, an honorable plant. You're deserving of honor. You come from good stock. You come from a good vine. That's good fruit. They that regard not the law are a dishonorable seed. They that transgress the commandments are a deceivable seed. See, if you don't have this word up in you, you cannot determine the two. And that's where a lot of people are. And they're going to be casualties of war. They will be casualties of war. Man, I want you to understand that this thing is real. It's raw. Spiritually, there is a bloodbath going on. There's a chance that one of your loved ones could be under attack. They want to be healed. But because you are not spiritually studied in the word, tactically sound in the word, you can't save them. You cannot administer casualty care, laying hands on them, casting out, delivering what's in them. And therefore, we lose another one. because the Most High Yah told you what your duty was, but you were derelict in it. You don't know. This is why I am on the opposing side. These days, I don't care if I'm on the opposing side of the world. The world, listen to how double-minded this is. The world is they promote girlfriend and boyfriend culture, all of this foolishness. They promote putting your daughters on birth control so they can go out there and be harlots, but everybody wants you to believe that they were raised up in the church. Come on, man. We are at war. It's a spiritual bloodbath going on. And rather than doing what the book said, you're being led astray by people that are deceivers. People that tell you with their lips they love the Most High Yah, but they don't obey him. The word said these people don't have the Father nor the Son. They're absent of truth. Man, I'm here today to tell you, if you just walking across this battlefield, let it be today that you choose what side you on. Let it be today that you choose what side you own. You sitting up here talking about what you're going to do next year, what you're going to do tomorrow. Who's to say Hasatan don't come and knock your head off? Send one of them darts your way and you out here whistling. I'm telling you, brothers and sisters, you might want to be righteously aggressive. This day, time, and hour, we are under attack. Only a remnant will be spared. See, some of these people, their interest is to be accepted by religion, not accepted of Yah. They're looking for acceptance of man. A lot of these people are your allies, and they turn your enemy, but you still call them your friend. See, the Most High Yah is not letting it slide when you didn't follow in His word like you were supposed to, and you let the enemy up in the camp when you could have shut the door, shut it off, locked the door. You let him up in there. And a lot of those that was on the side of righteousness lose their life because they got flanked. When you leave, when Most High Yah tells you to shut a window on the side of your temple and you disobey, imagine you up in there. Imagine you up in there. You got saints and sisters studying in the word, and here comes Hasatan through that window that you didn't lock and take everybody out. That's just a little bit of the rebellion. It's kind of like, okay, when you have teenagers, you teach them responsibilities, and sometimes they don't understand the significance, the consequences, the repercussions, the ramifications behind their disobedience. Hey, lock that house before you leave. They say, oh man, I'm in a hurry, and don't lock it. You get home, your house empty. You call the police, and they say, oh no, we don't see no signs of forced entry. Teenager, back it up slowly. Left the door unlocked. Gotta stop pussyfooting around. Gotta stop trying to put cake icing on everything to dress it up. We are at war. Biblically, you see it's the righteous against the wicked, whether it be the prophets, whether it be disciples. Judas was wicked amongst the disciples. I told you, instead of actually doing what we're commanded to do, you might be over there trying to save people that have rejected the Most High. And you're going to lose your life. These people are going to set up a snare and a trap for you. Man, we read. They that fear the Lord are a sure seed. Some of these people make choices and they don't give a dang about what the Most High Yah said. The only thing they care about is their feelings and their emotion and getting it pleased according to sensuality. They that fear the Lord are a sure seed, and they that love him, they that obey him, an honorable plant. Man, it's the righteous that's going to be rewarded with valor. They that regard not the law are dishonorable seed. Have you studied the word enough to know when somebody is deceiving you? They that transgress the commandments are a deceivable seed. See, amongst the righteous, when you look at the false prophet, you got people that are only here to fit in for a moment. Their heart truly isn't set on walking in truth, obeying the Most High Yah. And if you leave them alone by themselves and follow the actions, you'll see it. You'll see it. They're only here to fit in for a moment, to be a part of the group, to learn the playbook. When you think about espionage, that's somebody that was on the inside that's selling secrets to the enemy. Better take this stuff serious. This stuff is real. You know, if you don't choose this day which side you on, and you look at them 7 end time judges, people see they only in religion, in Christianity, they only teach you heaven and hell. But when you read Revelations and you look at what's actually said, oh man, come on. They don't teach you that. And a lot of these people, because of their passivity, because of their indecisiveness, because of their uncertainty, because they are doubtful, because of their hesitance, they don't choose a side and they lose their life. Man, I hope I said something today, man, to waking up the remnant, those walking in truth. If it's your first time here, I hope you motivated to say, you know what, man, I don't want to go out like that. Don't want to go out like that. Man, I want to go out as a soldier for righteousness' sake. I don't want to see Hamashiach at Judgment Day and find out that I was pussyfooting around, faking. See, when you read about the people that have a form of godliness and the Most High Yah telling you to avoid, you don't want to find out that was you, but he's giving you a good indicator of the character, the behavioral patterns of people that have a form of godliness. You've been filled with the Holy Spirit, but you don't want to lay hands on nobody. You say you got the wisdom of the word, but you don't never lean on it in your decisions. It's time to wake up. It's time to wake up. Everybody won't make exfil. You gonna when we read in Maccabees about those that laid their life down for righteousness' sake, because they were standing 10 toes down in obedience to the Most High Yah, that's gonna be some. Man, how will you be counted at the day of judgment? Will you be counted as somebody that is a lip service worshiper? Meaning you can recite verses here and there, but you ain't lived none of it. Will you be counted as somebody that stole a title that the Most High Yah didn't give to you, but you got from Everest College? Will you be somebody that didn't realize that you yourself is the temple of the living Elohim? Or were you somebody that was trying to find the Most High in a building that he told you biblically he didn't dwell in? Choose this day which side you on, because you got some serious choices to make about your salvation. Man, we got Tria Field in here, says Shabbat Shalom. Noah Josh, we got Reese, Shabbat Shalom. Hallelujah. Hey, I thank you for tuning in to another, Sabbath Day Teaching. I hope you guys truly enjoy your day of rest. Hey, and don't fold, man. Don't fold. In the last days, stand 10 toes down. You got to be like when we read not the book of Job, but the testament of Job. He was sitting on what people It was a pile of dung, and he was 10 toes down. Everybody around him had forsaken him and turned on him. Man, you better stand 10 toes down. Everybody that's with you ain't gonna make it. Closer to Y'all Ministries, kicking it gun barrel straight.